Hi class, good afternoon. Mrs. Miller here. Would like to give you a English lesson on some of the pages that you're accountable to complete today. So if you could get ready, please find the worksheet that says Sounds in Poems. This is a lesson that corresponds to this worksheet. It is page 213, 214. When we review this, I will pick the pieces off of this paper that are most important to review. I also have a slides presentation built, and I would like to add some comments about such items. I'm going to check first to see if this can go in full screen. Oh, I like that most. Okay, so if you see here, we are talking about sounds in poems. Poetry is often fun to read out loud. Sometimes reading a poem sounds like chanting a song without the music or saying the lyrics. Some poems sound quiet and gentle, and other poems sound loud and energetic. Often, the way poets pick words and choose words is on purpose. They have an idea about the way that they want their poem to be heard and what they want it to be sounding like when they pick the words. They also pick these words so that they can create a sense of feeling or mood change inside of you, or give this poem a impact in having a dark or a light excitement, or a eerie or a serious or a funny moment. So we're going to read a poem written by Trevor Brown. It is titled My Fish. We're going to pick out a few pieces inside of this poem, and we're going to review three terms. The terms of sounds in poetry that we're studying today are alliteration, automatopoeia, and rhyme. If you just want to pause with me for a minute and say those with me, because they're kind of fun to say. Alliteration, automatopoeia, and rhyme. You're probably most familiar with rhyme as you've gone through plenty of books, I'm sure, that have rhymed in your childhood, in your young childhood. Very common for early learners, 3, 4, 5-year-olds, as well as into your schooling through kindergarten and third grade. All right, so let's read this poem. It says, My fish. The fish I caught was huge. It grabbed my hook and tugged. It leapt and landed by our boat. Splish, splash, splatter. All over the boat was water. My dad and I were soaked, but he helped me reel it in. Splish, splash, splatter. I never saw a fish any flatter. So as you see, that poem was purposely written with one topic. It talks all about the experience of fishing, and particularly one experience of catching one fish. And this poet included alliteration, automatopoeia, and rhyme. So let's continue to understand what these are. Then we'll go back into the poem and find those pieces of the same poem. All right, so the first one is going to be alliteration. Alliteration is words that repeat the same beginning sound. So if we were looking at his poem, we would look for the words in order, one right after the other, that begin with the same sound. And this one is a spa, 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 splish, splash, splatter. So these three words, they sound like what they mean, and they're in order, so we call them alliteration. Alliteration does not only have to be sound words, alliteration has to be in order. That's the big thing of alliteration. I have a few examples here. She sells seashells by the seashore. This might seem like something familiar to you. These are often alliteration called tongue twisters. One of the popular ones, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. They're just kind of things that are tricky to say and are supposed to kind of make your tongue pause and just stop and be confused. So I have another example, because I especially want you to see how they are added into poetry. So I'm going to read one, and if you could pause and whisper read one of them yourself too. So I'm going to read Wind Whistles. Wind whistles through the air. Wow. Talking turtles shiver like seahorses while everyone is, I can't see it. I can't see that last word. While everyone is, can you guys see it? While everyone is asleep. Okay, so wind whistles. We have two in a pattern. Alliteration definitely has to have two, preferably three or more that comes in the area of the same poem or the same sentence. Wind whistles through the rain. Talking turtles shiver like seahorses. So we have talking turtles. We have wind whistles. So I also have a funny comment to make about alliteration. If you are like me, you've watched plenty of hours of Paw Patrol before. So if you could please watch Paw Patrol for alliteration, you will find it. I don't even know his name, but that tall, skinny captain scientist guy on Paw Patrol talks constantly in alliteration. If you go to any clip on YouTube to talk about Paw Patrol with that character particularly, or if you're just happening to have a sibling that is younger than you, watch it. Look to see if you can listen to those alliteration examples. All right, so let's go back to the poem that was written by a student and see if we can identify more pieces, especially pieces like an automatopoeia. Get used to this. An automatopoeia or a rhyme. All right, so let's read this one again. My fish. The fish I caught was huge. It grabbed my hook and tugged. It left and landed by our boat. Splish, splash, splatter. So we are looking for splish, splash, splatter. These are the words that count as automatopoeias because they sound like what they say. I'm going to officially tell you that that is also alliteration, but this example was also pulling out the words leaped and landed as another example of alliteration. I'm just seeing that now. But I am focused on finding alliteration that pops out to me that is often in sequence, one word after the other. So splish, splash, splatter is a tongue twister, like I just kind of stumbled, and it is automatopoeia and alliteration. So let's focus on understanding more about automatopoeia. Automatopoeias are so fun. You guys actually love these. You might not even know. Again, it is words that sound like what they mean. So this is the classic example where we have atomic words. Boom, zap, bam, pop, bang, bing. We have also pow, all of these things that as we make action stories in comics, these are often responses of the characters or of the scene or of the action that's happening. So here's some more examples inside of a poem. I'm going to read Crack the Egg. I'd like you to pause and read Crackle Split. This is a poem that could take you more than one time to read it because it is a little bit of a tongue twister. So I'm going to go crack an egg right now. Crack an egg. Crack an egg, stir the butter, break the yolk, make it flatter, stroke the heat, hear it sizzle, shake the salt, just a drizzle, flip it over just like that, press it down, squeeze it flat, pop the toast, spread the jam thin, say the words, breakfast in. Some of the ones that are to take note of are drizzle, sizzle, squeeze, pop. I sometimes think the word spread, people spread that out. Some of these are a little less obvious than the ones you'll hear in crackle and split. So I wanted to give you an example of how you can actually take sound words, add them all together in a poem and make it about one topic, and it still makes sense and it's fun to hear as well as say. All right, so we have one more piece of sound poetry. Would like to talk about this and go back and find the example in my fish. So rhyme is something that you've been exposed to almost your whole life. These are words with the same ending sound. Commonly, they are two lines in a poem that could rhyme together, or maybe even more. So let's go back to my fish. My fish right here, the words that are rhyme are splatter and flatter. So it said splash or splish, splash, splatter. I never saw a fish any flatter. Or I'm sorry, that even says fatter. I wasn't seeing that right. So fatter and splatter. Even the word flatter rhymes in two. So I'm very confident that you will understand what rhyme is. I'm going to give you an example. Gotta love a good classic Dr. Seuss book. I even read them to my boys right now at night, and sometimes I'm just like blumbling because all of the rhymes. So I'll read this one real quick. We took a look, we saw a nook. On his head he had a hook. On his hook he had a book. On his book was how to cook. So this is a simple, silly end sound, end word rhyming poem. I'm going to let you pause and read this poem. This one has a little bit more of a peaceful, calm attitude and mood. It is provoking the feelings of calm, being still and gentle, and ready for those moments of closing your eyes before you fall asleep. So I hope that you can read that. I'm going to go right back to my front screen for you to understand that now you have a task. You have a task to look at page 214 and complete the work that is asked of you. Page 214 is asking you to look at maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections with a few questions inside of it. This is a paper that has some animals illustrated on it. Please follow the directions, whether you're circling something, writing a sentence, finding examples of onomatopoeias, maybe even using an onomatopoeia in a sentence, or finding examples of rhymes. I'm confident that you will be able to identify sounds in poems, especially the sounds of alliteration, onomatopoeia, and rhyme. Thanks, friends. Bye.